gay, my nigga.
Bro, that's some gay shit, bro.
Yeah, that's gay.
So
That's gay, my nigga. But go ahead.
Bro, that's gay as fuck, bro. Like, why would you do that, bro? That's gay as fuck.
That's considered gay.
So what do you think the phrase "bro, that's gay" comes from?
When I was coming up, you know, it was said, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when it was said, it was under the understanding that that was girly, feminine. We didn't apply it to actual sexuality or lifestyle choice or any sexual orientation. It was just like, it was synonymous with sissy and soft and things of that. Like, bruh, that's gay.
When I hear those things, the first thing that comes to mind is ignorance. It's not necessarily that they think that this thing is gay or that they really do think that their friend is gay. Is that they're ignorant of what gay actually means.
But I think it's more propelled by patriarchy and imperialism and capitalism and sexism. So we've actually inherited, let me not use inherited, we've actually received our conditioning from white pseudo-supremacy. I don't even use the word supremacy, right? In terms of how this masculinity looks, right? Like, but we don't know enough, at least I don't, and the people that I'm surrounded, with a few exceptions, who knows enough about true African history from a spiritual standpoint, where we really know what our true roles were historically, right? And I ain't talking about on this side of the water, right? And so a lot of things that we took from white boy. Let me be clear with that. We took that from white boy, right? Even the term toxic masculinity, which I think is ridiculous, because toxic in itself means poison, and anything can be toxic, right? A woman can have toxic masculinity.
It's become a point where masculinity is toxic. You know, for instance, like with me moving to ATL, everybody says, well, you're too aggressive. I say, in what way? I don't know. You're just aggressive. I'm like, ah.
And the narrative about masculinity being threatened amongst black men is part of the colonized approach that's peppered with racism, sexism, and capitalism.
When you look at toxic, or when you hear toxic masculinity, it's that hyper level of everything. It's that drawn out level that becomes dangerous in certain situations. And I don't think that black people have created that in terms of being toxic. I think that that's something that came from white society that was perpetuated onto black people, or people of color in general, in order to control and in order to suppress what types of, or what ideas of masculinity get the forefront.
But I don't think the real discussion can define masculinity without including femininity.
That's not okay. I mean, the women, that's their field. I don't want a woman to take my role, so why would we take their role? That's what I think.
If a female is in her femininity, a male is in his masculinity. But if a female happen to cross paths, right, and want to be in her masculine energy, it was never designed to be that way. You know, it's God first, it's man, and then the woman. If it's in the structure of marriage, if a man say like, "Are you cussing me out? You trying to be in control? Get back to your place."
In a restaurant, when you're with your girl, you might not want to talk to the waitress. Your girl might have to be the masculine person in that situation. Be like, yo, we need this, or this wasn't right. I let my shorty talk, you know what I'm saying? And if that seems to be the masculine thing, then, you know, I let her be that masculine in that situation. But as far as relationship-wise, I mean, it's all about respect, you know what I'm saying? You got to understand what it is. Like, she can be masculine sometimes, I can sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's a hierarchy, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you're treating a girl right. You're not going to be submissive until a person who's not, you know, treating them right or showing them the right path.
I talked to my cousin about him acting like a female, as far as him getting in his emotions all the time, him leading with his emotions. Being that he got a baby mama.
I have feminine tendencies myself. I grew up in a house, you know, it was my mom and my sisters. So I didn't have, you know, my father wasn't around. I didn't have a lot of male influence in my life. All the male influence I got was from being a gang member at the time, you feel me? So like I stand a certain way, I talk a certain way, I move a certain way, but I learned that from the homies. That's not things I learned in the house.
You know, when we kind of dissect it, again, it's a play on how we dissect, how we are forced to compare and dissect each other from an imperial colonial standpoint. So what I offer, what I invite, is to have the masculine conversation along with the feminine conversation, because I think if we as men are clear about what femininity is, we'd embrace it more, right? Instead of spending time in a space to define and defend masculinity. Right? They're both necessary in all beings at all times.
If we think about ways that we can better masculinity or better society's view of masculinity, the first thing I say to everybody I teach, meet, talk to, or whatever is, let black boys be what black boys want to be. And allow black men to experience every spectrum of emotion, because a lot of times that's where our issues come from.
It's so right, and it light up your whole life. Somebody hurting and somebody needs you. Somebody pleading for somebody love. I bet your trust can make somebody give a fuck again. Or trust themselves enough to fly until their soul's content. I hope you reach out like the sun rays to warm a stranger. You know, return the favor. We know the future can be altered if we straighten up our posture.